Right.
And it had, you know, Sonny Boy Williamson stuff and some of the people in there, but I really...
Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee, I used to listen to that album over and over also.
Sonny Terry was like the first thing that but he played more in a major keys than cross harp, and but when I started listening to some of Muddy Waters stuff, and when you listen to the Chicago Overdriven Blues album, I had a record. It was Johnny Winter, Nothing But the Blues, that he recorded with Muddy Waters.
Oh my goodness.
And when I was in high school, and
that probably blew your socks right off.
Oh, I just played it over and over. I basically memorized the whole record and played along with it, and that was really like the record that got me interested in Chicago. But then I see on your bio Steve Forbert. I heard him on a local radio station, and Steve Forbert wasn't really into Dylan that much, but Steve Forbert kind of like said, "Oh, you can do that," and it was that kind of folk blues harmonica. That first album I loved.
Alive on Arrival.
Yeah, I love that record.
My friend Steve Burke produced that. I was actually the production assistant on that album.
That's
what a great album.
I got a chance to meet him, and I've seen him play twice, and he's just a great guy.
And a great songwriter.
Yeah.
Wonderful songwriter.
Yeah. So I saw that. I wanted to touch on that a little bit, but yeah, the blues. I went back. I started then going back.
Right, from the revival folks back to where they got it.
Yeah, and you hear Bob, like I wasn't really into Bob Dylan until I started listening to some early Bob Dylan. Like Steve Forbert kind of opened that door into like early Dylan, and then I went back and I started listening to the stuff that he was listening to, and the early stuff. And I've got quite a collection of just all kinds of old.
We were listening to Dylan when I was in high school, but we were also listening to Dave Van Ronk, who doesn't get the credit that he really should for having opened up a lot of those musical avenues and the songs. And I remember listening to Dave Van Ronk over and over until I could, and practicing this back-picking thing till I could do it in my sleep. Selling out when Peter, Paul, and Mary picked up songs like that. You know, we were like, oh no, they just no.
Yeah.
But Dave Van Ronk really, he was an incredible player with a jazz background too. So
I have read some of that stuff where he really didn't get the credit Dylan did. And maybe the poetry or the writing of Dylan is one thing, but at the early stages, mimicking a lot of Woody Guthrie and Roscoe Holcomb, actually.
Roscoe Holcomb, that's right.
I mean, they're like this raw, wild kind of. My grandmother used to say to my uncle, like, you're listening to the hall caller again, because when Dylan would be on, because it was like, he was really,
he was wailing.
Yeah. But it was kind of that raw.
I'm wondering, there was a folk revival in the 60s and early 70s. I'm wondering if we're ready for another one, because people seem to really like old-timey and kind of very rootsy American styles, and I'm kind of happy about that, because it does have, it's a lot about who we are.
I think it's already happening from what I mean, where you live in Woodstock. Big Pink, I'm trying.
The Ramble we have Bill Keith is like a local he plays at the local bar. We have some incredible musicians there who are steeped in these traditions.
The Felice brothers are.
The Felice brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But they play at. I'm drawing a blank. Drummer from the band.
Lee Von Helm.
Yeah, Lee Von Helm, I guess, has something.
No, he has an incredible. I think of it as music heaven. Like a musician dies and goes to heaven. It's like Lee Von Helm's Ramble. It's just incredible stuff he puts on there. If you can possibly get there,
I have to go.
Save your pennies. It's worth it.
But bands like the Wyos and the Felice brothers and this old time kind of these new artists that are coming up, and you mentioned "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" and really kind of opened up this. Wow, there's this whole world of
rich vein, a rich vein.
Well, I don't want to talk about that forever. You're on here to play, and I want to. While you're in the studio, I want.
Here's a blues song I wrote. I wrote it after a trip on the Colorado River, but it's about anybody who's ever felt like life is passing them by for the moment. It's called Back Eddy Blues. I got the Back Eddy Blues, and I don't know which way to roll. I got the Back Eddy Blues, and I don't know which way to roll. It seems the harder I pull, the farther upstream I go. I float by the scenery you know I've seen before. I float by the scenery you know I've seen before. But this old Back Eddy's got me, can't even get to shore. Well, I see the bright lights twinkling, the party's drawing near. I hear those voices calling, but I can't get there from here. I got the Back Eddy Blues, don't know which way to roll. It seems the harder I pull, the farther upstream I go. Something happening, it's just around the bend, but I can't seem to get there. When will this whirlpool end? I got the Back Eddy Blues, don't know which way to roll. I got the Back Eddy Blues, I believe I'm sinking low.
Nice. I feel like I'm getting a personal guitar lesson just watching you play.
Oh no!
Yeah.